And then we'll use your video.
Yes.
Yeah, so she admitted that.
Let me test.
But I was like, it's not a big-
Here's right there.
You can share some.
Share sound? Are you sharing your sound or should I share mine? I'll try it without it if you already have yours, just so it doesn't do the.
So anyway, this mic is on, so
Oh, your mic's on? Okay. Yeah, so we should be okay then.
Yeah, well, I mean.
Good.
okay, so sorry, take a photo first.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Photographers. Well, yeah, two photographers, right? So first of all, let's give it welcome to our guest speaker. So, we want to take a class photo with our guest speaker. So everybody stand up and let's go that wall. Yeah, that wall. And those, let's make a two line. Four guys going back, and short guys going forward. So everybody please go and can you take a photo for
Yeah.
and first two photos you take it and next two take it. So everybody.
We'll use our.
So everybody stand up.
ER diagram, you can measure the relationship between.
No, you're going on my shoulders. We're going up against this wall.
So I movie enough. And check with everybody.
Yeah, I can see how big I can get. Oh, yeah, this should work, yeah.
So
See everybody in line up. I think you guys know.
So please. So we will take actually four photos, two photos each. First photo, big smile. Second photo, do something. Okay, so first let's show big smile.
Wait, you guys just move in a little bit more over on this side since you're all up against the wall. All right,
Say cheese.
all right, 3, 2, 1, cheese. All right, and
And do something. Yeah, let's do something.
all right, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah,
That looks great.
Yeah, can you come
Yeah.
and switch? Yeah. Okay, let's do one more time. So please show your teeth.
All right, 3, 2, 1, cheese. All right, I got two there.
And do something. Yeah, please.
Sure. You're all good.
Okay, thank you.
I know. Always one person who's super memorable. I was gonna be you that time. There you go.
I saw.
Point that up a little bit. Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, so it is very rare chance to meet the executive in 50, right? So can you give big warm up for one more time?
Thank you. Hello, everybody, and thanks for having me. So my name's David Gamble. I'm a director of finance at JD Irving, based out of the St. John company. Who here has heard of JD Irving? Okay, so I won't go into too much, but I do have a little spiel before I go into it that I have to. So a little about me before I begin. I'll go into my role in a few slides from now. But David Gamble, I'm a CPA CMA, so I did my accounting designation back when it was a CMA before they combined the three of them together. I'm director of finance and then also what we call our continuous improvement champion for finance. So that means I run our continuous improvement program. I'm a Lean Six Sigma black belt, which allows me to do that. Part of that means I'm a steward for what we call our formal management system there. So I run our strategic planning process, our programs for that initiative management, and then also train and mentor anybody going through the CI program for finance. What else do I have on there? I'm a ProSite change management certified. So we do a lot of change within JDI and a lot of change within finance. I have credentials that just help me help people through that change as well. So a little bit about me. I have a whole lot more education beyond that, but that's what's relevant for this one anyway. JD Irving, I'm not going to go into this a whole lot, but we've been around since 1882, so 142 odd years. We're in a lot of different divisions. One great thing about us as a company is we are a very diverse, multi-site, complex organization. You can start with one company and grow through the rest of them as well. So there's a lot of opportunity to grow in the company. I'm not going to go through this slide, but every time I pop this up there, there's a few more companies that show up. If you're interested as you're going through university and you're going through a co-op program or you're looking for a summer job, please consider us as you're going through this. We're looking for people that really fit the bill on the screen. I'm not going to go through this just because I don't have a ton of time with you, but that's what it looks like. If you're interested in our student program, keep an eye on career LinkedIn, other programs like that, and you'll see some job postings coming up here shortly for that. And then CPA program, if you're interested in accounting, we have a lot of opportunities there for students down the road. So that's the bit I have to go through whenever we present. So thank you for going through that. Little disclaimer before we begin. So I'm going to talk to you about finance technology within JD Irving. The disclaimer part is this is my perspective and my opinion on it. So it doesn't necessarily reflect all of the opinions of JD Irving. So I'll take a little bit of JDI take on this and a little bit of my own as well. So take that as you will. But that's what we're doing. So I rejig these slides, Dr. Kim, or Professor Kim, so we'll see how this works out. But our journey to best in class. So within finance, we started on a journey back in 2017. And if you were to go back in time, we had a lot of paper around the organization, a lot of paper on all the floors. So we had a high print volume. So over $1 million pieces of paper were printed on an annual basis. A lot of manual effort across the business and across the finance. Around 2018, 2019, we started on our digital transformation journey. And what that means is we started investing heavily in technology, heavily into our different teams and upskilling different folks. In the past, we never had roles like mine. Now this is really just a steady state that we're in right now. We have roles like mine across the organization embedded in these different functions. Back in 2017, it didn't exist. So in 2019, we started investing heavily into dashboards. We had Cognos reporting going out there. We brought in Tableau to start doing some reporting out of that. You might have had some of my colleagues in here recently talking about reporting and different tools like that or in some of the other classes. But we started on that journey back then, and that started replacing some of the paper. Around the same time, we started investing in automation technologies. And that started taking away the hours out of the work, the manual parts out of the process, and allow people to start doing more critical thinking versus finger typing on keyboards. Fast forward to today, we've invested significantly, and we have another few rounds of spending ahead of us to continue investing in technology. I'm not going to go through that a whole lot. I'm going to go a little bit about the past, but then talk more about the future, where I think this is going. So teams like mine, what I said is we started investing in teams like mine and roles like mine in the organization And what that looks like is we have more of an emphasis on strategic planning. So we know what we're doing and where we're going within the finance function. We're doing a lot more benchmarking to know what's out there and where we should be focused. We're looking at process improvement. We're leading different projects. Before this was an IT function, we started bringing this in-house and have a project management office, PMO in-house that we're starting to invest in and run these things on our own. And this is really just because of the volume of projects we're putting through. Business analysis is one of our core values or core features right now. Advanced analytics, data visualization and reporting. Before this was an IT function. Now, again, it's just a core skill set that most of our finance folks have. And then business process automation. And this is just somewhere that I've invested heavily my time and effort over the last few years. But business process automation in general is, again, just one of our core values or core functions within finance. I used to have a slide that would show all these technologies, but I've been asked to take it out. Now I have a list of different systems and where we've invested over the last few years. So JD Edwards is our ERP, our enterprise resource planning system, and that allows us really to function on the day-to-day basis. We have Cognos, which is a reporting tool that sits on top of different systems to get some basic reports out. We have UiPath, which is our robotic process automation engine that's running a lot of tools, and I'll talk about that more in a few minutes here. Tableau for data visualization, Power BI for data visualization as well. We use Alteryx for advanced analytics, but also for, let's say, just analysis and reconciliation automation as well as part of that. ADP for our payroll functions, Kyriba for automating our treasury functions, and then a tool called Sephoria, which helps us automate our credit and collections, and then also our accounts receivable functions. So if I would have gone back and rolled the tape back to 2017, JD Edwards and Cognos would have been the only two on this list. So we've invested heavily over the last few years, and that was part of our digital transformation. Part of these are turnkey solutions where we bought something on the shelf, brought in some vendors to help us implement it, and away we went. So think Sephoria, Kyriba, ADP, tools like that. Other ones like Tableau, Power BI, Alteryx, UiPath, those are tools that you really fit the gap in your processes. So it's really understanding what we need, where these fit, and then building it ourselves to really fill those in. So a lot of those functions were really where we invested our time. And I won't read all the different functions, but every function across finance we've touched over the last few years with this. So that's high level where we've been. What I do, and my role has changed quite a bit over the years, and since I've actually been in this class, it's changed quite a bit over the years. So I started out in accounting years ago. I made a switch over to finance IT projects about a little bit more than a decade ago. And that's really been where I focused my time. So I was on financial planning and analysis modeling, bringing in different tools to really get that going. I was one of the first folks within finance to start our advanced analytics team. So looking at Tableau, different tools like that to start bringing those in and start building that core competency within finance. Over time, that turned into robotic process automation. So I stood up a team to really get that going within the group and the function. I brought in the continuous improvement program for us within finance, strategic planning process. And now really where I'm focusing my gaze is on just digital strategy in general of where are we going? What does finance transformation 2.0 look like for us? And a lot of that I'm going to talk about here in a minute of where we're going and where I'm positioning us to go within a finance function. So I own finance strategy. So I work very closely with our CFO to come up with our finance strategy where we're looking for the next 5 years and where we should focus our efforts and our budgets and our time and effort with that. Digital strategy, so that goes along with the finance strategy, but we have to know where we're going within finance to know where to invest on the digital side of it. So those go hand in hand, but they're somewhat independent as well. Continuous improvements where I spend a lot of my time. And then I also just happened to take on another role as well for a global process owner, which is a newer function to JD Irving, where it's looking at different processes across the enterprise and making sure they're running as lean and efficient as possible. So that's kind of that's on paper, that's my main job, but I spend more of my time on the other stuff. So that's my role. Any questions on that? That was less than 5 minutes on where we've been within JD Irving. No, go once, twice, go ahead.
Without those technology innovation, can you compare the benefit? How company appreciate those benefits?
So it's, I guess there are two sides of it. There's time to insight, and you hear that a lot on the data visualization, data reporting side of it. So it's doesn't take us as much time to process tasks. So we can make faster decisions, get the information quicker, and just make more informed decisions. One example of that is we invested heavily in a tool called TM1 years ago, and it used to take them about 3 weeks. So we have this business called Atlantic Towing, and we have a bunch of vessels all over the oceans that are supplying offshore oil rigs. And if we wanted to reposition or get a new contract for one of those vessels, it took us about 3 weeks to put all the numbers in a system, run all the analysis, and determine whether that's a good contract or not. We have that now, so it's about 10 seconds. So we brought 3 weeks down to 10 seconds with some of the investments we've made in that. And really it's coming into driver-based models using a technology for it. So you change a few numbers, put in some terms, it crunches the numbers and tells you whether that's a good contract or not. So things like that timed insight for investments like that has been a game changer for some of these companies. On the efficiency side of it, we have fewer people than we used to have. That's not always a good news story, but it's also just reinvesting where those are. We've never had a layoff, which is a good thing for that. But we've been riding attrition for a few years with that one. As we automate more, people leave. Sometimes we just don't rehire. And that's just the nature of what all businesses are doing right now. So there's an efficiency gain. I would say we're at the end of that rope right now. So there hasn't been a whole lot of that lately. But it's really efficiency gains, money, hard dollar savings, but then that time to insight and the value and quality data is really where a lot of the value is. And then you flash forward that to your point backwards. Processing paper invoices takes a lot of time. Getting that information in the system is very slow. And now that stuff, it's a lot faster just getting that through. So that's some of the major changes we've had. Any questions there? Any of that? So that's a little bit where we were. So where are we going? So I'm going to play a video. Hopefully it works. I'm going to step aside here for a sec. So this on the screen, it looks like any normal desktop. It's opening up applications. It's starting to open up invoices. This is our AP automation tool that we use. It's going in, it's finding an invoice in the system. And the process this is doing is we get about 40,000 invoices a year, and we have to cancel a portion of those. And we have to cancel them because the PO was wrong, they billed the wrong company, they billed the wrong price, all these different reasons. They billed us incorrectly. We're canceling that invoice, sending a note off to the vendor and saying to re-invoice us correctly. This used to be done manually. What you're seeing right now is a robot. This has its own computer, it has its own login, it has its own credentials. It is going and just running this process the same as a person would have before in the past, and it's doing it autonomously. So it's got, again, its own computer, it's running on a schedule, it's getting instructions, and it's just running. We're running hundreds of these a day, thousands of them every period, tens of thousands of these every year. So there's a lot of these going through, and this is just one of about 30 different processes that we have automated today. And again, they're just running autonomously in the system. So this is robotic process automation. It's something that we've invested quite a bit in over the last few years. One question we typically get asked as we're going through this and we're talking about automation is, will this take jobs away? What do you think? Could be? Yeah. Yeah, everybody's saying, yeah, probably. Yeah, and the answer is yes, some. But I put a but in there. It has been for centuries. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with the different industrial revolutions that we've had, but we're going through our fourth industrial revolution right now. First industrial revolution, think of steam power, right? So this is starting to bring tractors into fields, trains on the rails, things are moving around a lot faster. And when this started happening, everybody thought jobs are going away, everybody's going to be unemployed, what are we going to do? And that transition to more of a services industry, right? So people started coming off the fields, going into downtown cores, services started becoming a thing. Second industrial revolution, mass production, assembly lines, more electricity. Again, jobs lost, new jobs created, right? Electrical engineers, assembly line engineers, you name it, it's there. Third industrial revolution, I call this the 80s, 90s. And I guess right up till today is computers and automation, right? So mechanical arms, we're starting to automate more of those assembly lines, getting more robots on those lines. That was the third industrial revolution. Right now we're in our fourth. And the fourth one's really cyber physical systems. And that means going from these mechanical robotic arms to robots that live on your computer, the ones that I just showed you. Right? It's also how fast this information starts getting shared between these different systems. Right? So there's a lot of new technologies that are starting to change the way we work and how we can work. So before, for a services function, for automation, this wasn't a thing. It wasn't really a threat to us or an opportunity. It depends on your stance on it. These were always mechanical automations. Now it's really these cyber automations, right? These digital automations. So it's changing, and that's where we are today. Why we care about it, why I care about it within finance. You can Google this. This is Ernst & Young's hotspots wheel for it. So if you Google this, you'd find it yourself. But why we care about it is there are all these automation hotspots right now. These technologies are starting to open up all these opportunities and all these different functions on where to look and how to improve the function itself. And again, it doesn't mean that jobs are going away. It means that your analysis is going up and your time to analyze things are going up. So instead of evaluating one contract over 3 weeks, you're evaluating a lot of contracts in the same amount of time. Right. So I won't read through all these, but if you were to look through it, you would see it's hitting mostly every single finance function that's out there right now. And this is why we're looking at this. This is why we're investing pretty heavily in this today. The problem, though, is the criteria for today and where we are with these different technologies. It's still very dependent on having very structured set data, right? So when we look at processes for automation today, we're looking for things that are highly manual, highly repetitive. They have to be digital. And by digital, I mean, it's not a picture of something. It's actually something that's accessible data, high quality. You can use it, you can modify it, but actually quality data. It's standard. And then it's also time consuming because we have to have a good return on investment for these things. So we're very limited today by a lot of different criteria for automation. But a lot of that is changing based on some new technologies that are coming down the pipeline. So for me, and again, this is where my opinion diverges from JD Irving's, is these different technologies that are coming down the pipeline. So we have artificial intelligence and machine learning, which I think most people here would be familiar with, and you've probably heard a lot about it. Robotic process automation. So I just talked a little bit about that, but that's something where I think it's going to continue to be a game changer for finance functions. We have something called the Internet of Things, which I don't know if anybody has heard of that before. Like for not some people. And then blockchain. Has anybody heard of that before? A little bit? Yeah, but mostly Bitcoin is kind of where people go with that one. Those are the 4 technologies that I'm keeping an eye on because I think they're going to change fundamentally how we work within finance. So robotic process automation. I don't know if you teach this in the class now. No? Okay. So does anybody know what that is, robotic process automation? No? So what's that? Process is performed by robots. Yeah, so that's what it is. So it's and I kind of have it color coded here. So it's a software-based technology. It mimics human actions on a computer. Because it's software, it can do a lot more than what you can do on your computer. But the basics of it is if there's a set standard process and you can follow those instructions yourself and it never really deviates from that process, there's a good chance we can automate that. Right. So we're looking for things that are digital, repetitive, manual, all those steps to the criteria that I just said. If it fits that criteria, there's a good chance we can use an RPA, a bot, to do that process. But it extends a little bit beyond that. For these things, they can log into systems in the background. They can connect to databases in the background as well. Scrape data from the internet. You can send attachments, make calculations, and then extract and process documents. And then there are a lot of other features as well. So at the end of the day, this is code. It can do a lot of things that you can code anyway, but then at the same time, it can take over your computer and do everything on its own laptop. So a lot of options there of what you can do with it. Why we like that and why this is UiPath, why they think you should invest in that is it's accurate. So it'll do exactly what you tell it to do every single time. Productivity, they could work 24/7 if you let them. Compliant, consistent. There's low code required. I wouldn't say no code. It's cost cutting. So we've had some technologies that we've extended the life by 5 years or so because the technology itself was out of life, end of life. There wasn't a whole lot of new functionality going within it, but because we could put this on top of the existing technologies and platforms, we extended the life significantly. So we saved quite a bit of money there as well. Reliability, only as reliable as your network and your data, and it reduces the burden on IT. So they use different technologies now. So low code, no code technologies, drag and drop technologies. So the burden on IT is less because it's more accessible as a technology. So this is something we invest in quite a bit. We've had it since 2018. We've matured quite a bit in this space, and it's really one of our go-tos for technologies, for solutions. Any questions on this? Yeah, go ahead.
People to look keep an eye on the robots.
Yes, absolutely.
What about breakdown? Are you gonna change to manual, or you gonna change still wait for the maintenance to?
It depends for that one. So did everybody hear the question? It was if they break, essentially, what do we do? And it depends on the process. So some process, it's similar to different technologies and different systems that we have. If it's a critical process, we're going to call what we call a priority one. And that means all hands on deck, get this thing back up and running again. If it's a critical process and it's not back up in 2 hours, we're going to our business continuity plans, which means we have plans in place if things happened, which means we start diverting to a manual process. If it's a really critical process, we're pulling people off of different job functions to start performing those. And we only have a small handful of processes that would fit that bill. Typically for AP functions, we have a 24-hour turnaround for it. So if the bot fails, we'll try to fix it. If we don't get it up and running within 24 hours, we're starting to pull people in the process. Chances are we're going to get it back up and running. We did have a three-day outage once in the past 6 years. But we've had multiple day outages. Yeah, but yeah, and then there is a team that monitors it. So you're not replacing work or workers, you're modifying the type of work that some people do. Yeah. Any other questions on RPA? And I do have a bunch of slides on that later. They're in the appendix if we want to go into them, but we'll see. Artificial intelligence, who's heard of that? So almost everybody. ChatGPT is the big thing right now. So there are really two types of AI that I'm looking at right now that fall under the same thing. There's machine learning, which has been around for quite a while now. And really that's using algorithms. It remembers what you did and how you do it. And it's trying to continue on using those same processes or thought processes going forward. So again, I have it underlined there, but essentially what you did in the past, chances are you're going to do that in the future. And it's learning from that. Generative AI is completely different, where it's actually going and it's creating content for you instead. So instead of extrapolating out and predicting on for it, it's actually starting to generate content off the side for it. And again, these things they overlap quite a bit in the background, depends on what you want to call it. But those are the two different technologies that I'm looking at today for use within finance. Internet of Things, and I don't know if anybody's heard of this one. Maybe, maybe not. But it's essentially the world of connected devices, right? So these light bulbs that can start talking to each other, these different systems that have sensors in it that can start communicating to each other. For us within finance, where that starts getting really interesting is starting to share that data across different tools or different systems, and then starting to bring that into our ERP systems. So if I know when this truck crosses this boundary and it has these goods, I take ownership of it. Because these systems can now connect and talk to each other, I don't need a phone call from somebody at that site or an email saying, hey, the goods are here, you should accrue that in your general ledger. Now you can have these systems start talking to each other to say, this sensor just crossed this, we have a contract in place, let's book the entry. Right, so you're starting to get that real-time information because these systems can now talk to each other in real time. Do we have that in place today? No, but it's something we're keeping an eye on just because there is a lot of benefit to that and a lot of, again, real-time information, real-time data. So Internet of Things is something that's going to change things for us. And then the last one, blockchain. I don't know if anybody knows the history of blockchain, but it actually is the technology behind Bitcoin. They created it within Bitcoin because it's encrypted. You can't really hack it. It's very safe and secure. A lot of applications for that outside of Bitcoin, which is where companies like IBM and a bunch of different companies are really cashing in on that. It's starting to get a new name change called distributed ledger technology. And really the fundamentals of blockchain is you get a bunch of code and information, you put that in one block. There's something called hashing where I get a code based on all the information, all the data that's in that block. And I put that hash key into the next block. And then I put all the data into the next block, put a hash on that one, carry that hash to the next block. What happens is, because I have all these blocks put together, if I was somebody that went to go change data in a block previously, all the other blocks data are going to change because that hash code now changed. Because I'm distributing that information and sharing it across multiple systems, I'll have more of a record of truth. If I have 100 computers that are saying this is what the blockchain should be, or this is what the information should look like, and one of those looks different, it's just going to reject that one. It knows somebody tampered with the data. I don't like that one anymore. I'm going to go with the 99 or 100 that I know are correct. So again, very secure information. Where the distributed ledger technology comes into play, and where that looks really interesting for me within finance, is now you can start sharing ledgers with different people. And I don't know if anybody's done an accounting course here. Yeah, some people, most people in business. So your general ledger, your ledger of really accounts on what a business looks like, how things get onto that ledger are through journal entries. I'm recording something in the system, or invoices coming in and I'm recording that invoice into my system, or I'm releasing an invoice to somebody else's system. Invoicing different companies is just a way to share your ledger information with the other party. Is I know you owe me money or you owe me money. I'm going to put that on an invoice and I'm going to share that ledger information with you. You're going to take my ledger information and put it into your ledger. If we now share ledgers electronically through this blockchain, there's no longer a need to invoice each other. The information is just automatically in both the systems at the exact same time, and it's reconciled all at the same time. And I'm really simplifying this, but there's a whole lot more to it than that. But it's these sharing of distributed ledgers that start taking out some of the traditional finance functions. You no longer have to invoice. You no longer have to accrue in your systems or have your accountants accrue in systems. And again, it's just sharing that real-time data instantly because you're sharing that ledger with both parties. And then combine that with Internet of Things, where data is flowing very quickly between each other, and some of the other tools that we have in place that I just talked about, it starts streamlining the finance function across the board. Now they compare blockchain to the internet back in the 90s. So the maturity of it right now. So what the internet was back in the 1990s is what they're comparing blockchain to today. So it's got a long ways to go, but hopefully it starts catching up quickly. So it still needs to mature a bit more before we actually start using it, but we're starting to see applications for it today. Any questions on that one? Does it make sense at all?
So
Yeah.
then you can capture what's current cash level and what's current inventory all almost real time.
Almost real time. Yeah. Yeah. Now this is where if you were to talk to our CFO or my CFO, Michael Stewart at JDI, he doesn't agree with me on this one. And this is where I put the disclaimer in place. I see this as a game changer for us in finance. I think what people don't see right now is when it's going to happen, right? And it's hard to kind of grasp and put your hands around it right now because it is so far away. But again, it's just sharing those ledgers across that get the benefit. So we'll see how it goes and what it looks like. I tried doing a pilot with this back in, I think it was 2018, and it cost about $1 million to do and we didn't do it, but it would have cost us $1 million to do a very simple pilot. And it was just to trace cutting a log down in the woods and tracing it through our supply chain just to see where that log ended up. And because of blockchain and because of the way the information works, we'd be able to trace down who was the employee to cut it, what equipment did they use to cut that down, what truck did it go on, what mill did it end up in, how did we cut it, what boards did it end up in, and kind of trace it through our whole value chain for it. And that's kind of the benefit of these tools. Again, it cost a fortune back then because IBM was one of the few people that were hosting these blockchains and ensuring that they were correct. It's changed quite a bit since then, but it hasn't really matured a whole lot. So you're starting to see it more in like the food service or food production industry. People have done it. Walmart's done it with mangoes and pork so far. So they can track a mango coming from a field all the way through to find out what warehouse it's gone through and what store it's ended up in. Same thing with pork. And where that gets really interesting for them is if they have a food recall, they can say this is exactly where it's come from and where it touched in the supply chain. Again, so a lot of benefit there, but it's still pretty young. Any other questions on that one? Okay, check the time. So I'm gonna try something. I don't know if it's going to work or not, and as telling your professor before the class, this is gonna work either really well or it's gonna fail miserably, but let's see how it goes. I have an AI model that I've stood up. And it's not Zoom, but this is covering my screen. So I have this AI model stood up. And then I have this financial statement here that you're gonna have a hard time reading. Just trust me on it. So this is where we are today with some of these ChatGPT models and AI. It can do pretty simple tasks, but you'll see when we start playing around with this, it gets confused very quickly. And then also we could probably get it a lot better if we invest a whole lot of money into it, but the return on investment right now for us isn't very high. So one thing we can do is I guess on the screen. So on the right side of the screen, there's an income statement. It's showing different costs for wages and salaries. There's training, travel, audit fees, bank charges, a lot of different overhead costs. It has one period actuals compared to the budget, and then it has variance. So we can ask this in this model, anything we want about the income statement. Does anybody wanted to ask it something? I can start. So why are wages off from budget? Again, we'll see if it works. Sometimes it gets cranky and it'll say, I don't know what you're asking. Sometimes it'll give an error. Oh, there we go. So it says the variance in wages from the budget is attributed to a delay in hiring, which led to a lower actual wages than what was budgeted. And then it goes on to say what the variance is. So it's doing that because I told it to say that in the background. So not very interesting so far. But this is where it gets neat. So this model hasn't been trained on anything else beyond what the variances were. I can now ask it, how do I keep wages lower? And I don't know what it's going to say because I didn't tell it to do this. And sometimes it'll get cranky and say, I don't know how to do this because you didn't tell me how to do it. But then I'll trick it. Oh. See, it's being cranky today. Try again in 2 seconds. Okay, it's going to be cranky. So normally this would go and it would start saying, kind of looking at all the documentation that's out there and say, here are different ways that you can keep wages lower. And it would give different ways that we do that in the industry. I'm going to try it on a different tool though, because this one's been cranky today. Oops. This one might get the same problem. I think they're doing something in IT in the background with this today, so it's giving all these errors. So we're going down the failed miserably path here, but yeah, typically what this does is we actually have I don't know if anybody's heard of ChatGPT. Some people may have used it to help out with courses and get some answers for things. Oh, and then that failed too. Sorry, everything's messing up with me now. But we actually took ChatGPT. This is ChatGPT from about 2 years ago. Took it, put it in our own systems in the background, so that it's only housed within JDI. It's not thinking outside of it. It's not sharing our information outside of JDI, just for security's sake. But what these models have done is I've tried a few different pilots with this one, where we've put coding information in the background or coding policies for it for our accountants. So they can now go in there and say, hey, I got a bill for electricity. What account should I code this to? And it'll say you should code it to account 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because that's what our policy says. And they can say, oh, I got this other one. And they can be a bit more ambiguous and it'll ask some prompting questions. They give it more details and then it'll tell them where to code it. So that's kind of where we are today with the AI models as we're going through this. But I had other plans. They're not going to work. But really at this point, I can open it up to any questions you had. I know I kind of went through that a lot quicker than planned, but any questions from anybody on anything I talked about?
So when you ask this bot question, it just gives you, pulls data from assuming past financial statements that you have in your records. Does it automatically reference them for you so you can double check that the bot is accurate or not?
Yeah, so where we are today with them, and this is kind of, we were talking about this in the hallway a little bit, but it's really good at retrieving and providing information. The models that we have today and how we've trained these models. So to your point, like, could it go back and look at other financial statements and tell you where this has happened in the past? Absolutely. It does a really great job at that. Trying to interpret and infer what's happening next, it could do that a little bit, but not great. So using these things as like forecasting models for generative AI, it doesn't do a great job with that. But machine learning, kind of the other technology that it's talking about, it excels at that type of work. And that's more of the prescriptive kind of inferential information where it can say, okay, I'll look at the last decade. This is where I think you're going. We find that as well with like anomaly detections, where we're saying, hey, look at all of these invoices and see if any vendors billed us twice for this product or service. And it does an okay job with it, the generative AI, but what works better with it is more of those the machine learning models, statistical models, and it'll start running different tests on it to say, yeah, this is a duplicate because I ran these tests on it. So again, it kind of comes down to using the right technology for the right problem, is what we're finding with it. Yeah, but there was at one point where it's a new hammer trying to find a nail everywhere, where ChatGPT was going to solve all of our problems. And we quickly found out, like, no, it's not, right? It's really good for very specific use cases. I use it all the time, creating presentations, trying to retrieve information in emails or past presentations, or saying, hey, somebody told me about this a few days ago. I forgot who it was. Can you remind me? And it'll go through all my information and start bringing that information back for me. Right. So it's pretty good at retrieval and inferring, or I guess not inferring, but summarizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my experience with it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
So if you can train it on how to retrieve accounts for all your bills and stuff, could you then, in essence, get to a point where you can completely automate all of the like reconciliation of bills?
Potentially. So we're going through a process right now to replace our AP automation system. And part of that is more of the off-the-shelf thing. So what we're finding is a lot of these AP automation vendors are starting to build things like that into their technologies and into their tools. Where it's saying, if I keep getting the same invoice all the time and my accountants keep coding it to the same place every single time, do you want me to just start coding that automatically? The next time this bill comes in, do you want to just code it to the same spot? So that's starting to be built into these technologies. Now, we built a robot a couple of years ago that can do that same thing, but somebody has to tell it, this company, like this JDI company, this vendor, always code it here. But it could be wrong because they could bill us for something else or do a different service for us, and it's going to end up in the same or wrong place. But these new technologies that's starting to be embedded right in them. And that's where we landed with these AI pilots, is we said, you know, it's neat, it's fun to play with when it works. But it's really going to be when they start embedding it into these turnkey solutions that we'll see a lot more value for this type of AI anyway. Yeah. Any other questions on that? All right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, right in front of me.
I'm just wondering, how come you guys have such a delay for your AI? Like using ChatGPT from 2 years ago is obviously very different from today, even. It updates quickly. So is that like, it's just a whole process to get a new system in there, or why is that?
Yes and no. We're JDI, and I'm being recorded, so I should say, JDI, we're very risk adverse. But it's a weird dynamic because we invest heavily in new technologies and new processes and procedures, but at the same time, we're highly risk adverse at the same time. So it's this weird dynamic of saying we want to go fast, but we're going to go slow at the beginning.
Okay.
Right. So we delayed or kind of deferred using it by about 2 years, but we'll likely catch up very quickly.
Yeah.
Because of that. Yeah. And part of this is it's the vetting process. So if I got a really good, and this is again the dynamic at JDI, If I found an incredibly good use case that was gonna pay back millions and millions of dollars, we'd probably upgrade.
Yeah.
And get the newest version. I haven't found it yet. So, yeah, so that's kind of where we are. But yeah, it's a safety net at this point. Different vendors, like we use Microsoft, they're getting really good at securing your data. Because the first models that were out there were cloud-based. You put your information out there, and once it's out there, it's out there. And we don't like that at JDI, right? So, yeah, so that was part of the approach. Yeah. Any other questions? No. Anybody else? No? Well, thanks everybody for having me again. This is my perspective on where I think things are going and where we've been a little bit within JDI and within finance. You can find me on LinkedIn if you ever have any questions. If you're out looking for a job in a couple of years or whenever you graduate, feel free to reach out as well. I'd be happy to help you out with that too. But thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
University prepared the small mug cup and I prepared small coffee cup.
Well, thank you very much. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Photographers, can you take a photo?
Awesome. Thank you very much. And thank
very
you.
much.
All right. Thanks everybody for having me. Enjoy the rest of your term.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, we'll be in touch.
Send the passport to me.
Yeah. And if you don't mind sharing that photo, I'd love to have it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, so I will.
Still send it along. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
Well, thanks again.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having me.
One more time.
All right. Thanks everybody. Have a good day. All right. See you later.
Okay. How was it? Nice, right? So give me, if you have any good comment or feedback, send me email. I will convey. So that I can invite him again. So let's continue. First one is, last time we rushed a little bit, so I wanna solve a little bit of database question, database vision questions. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 5. That's common. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. If you ever- I think-
Everybody has two part of paper, right? Now let's share the screen. Thank you. So let's go to the content of the D2L and lecture slide. You are seeing page 5. Page 5 is the rule to convert EL diagram. Page 5 is the 4-5 rule to convert EL diagram to table design. And then what we are doing is 4-5-1 exercise is in the page 1 of the 6. So you have to take the page 1 is the question, page 5 is the rule. So you have to apply rule in the page 5 and trying to solve page 1. So here is the ER diagram, entity relationship diagram. There is a supplier, product, and order, customer. So question is convert this to table design. Table design. So let's look at the rule first. Let me review the rule first so that you can recall. Here is the rule. So basic rule is each entity become a table. Each entity become a table. And each attribute become a field of the table. And then put foreign key depends on relationship. If it is one-to-one, either side. If it is one-to-many, many side. And if it is many-to-many, you have to create third table, another table for the diamond symbol relationship and two foreign key inside the relationship. So let's see the first one, one-to-one. How do I know it is one-to-one? Because this bar shows this is 1 and this is 1. Meaning is for one department, There is only one employee manage this department. And each department employee belongs to one department. That's the meaning. So this is one-to-one. Then one-to-one case, each entity become a table. And each department, so another entity department become a table. And we move all the EID, name, address here. And department table has all these attributes: department ID, name, location. And we underlined because this is primary key. And last rule is put foreign key to either side. Let's put foreign key to department side. Foreign key is always other table's primary key. So here, if we put foreign key department side, other table is employee table. Employee table's primary key is EID. So EID is inserted as a foreign key in department side. Then let's see the second part. One to many. How do I know it is many? Because this one has a many branch. Many branch. So this is many sign. So first rule is employee entity. There are two entity, employee entity, department. So we make each one as a table. And each one has a table. So two table. And then all the attribute is listed there. Then last step is put foreign key to many side. So many side means employee side, right? Employee side. This is many side. So employee side should have foreign key. Foreign key is other table's primary key. So other table means department table's primary key is department ID. So we insert department ID as a foreign key in employee table. So if you see notation, this dotted underline is the shows this is foreign key, and we always use this arrow starting from foreign to corresponding primary key. This is notation for foreign key. Now let's see the many-to-many side. Many-to-many side. Each entity become a table. That's the same as before. Become a table. Project become a table. Let's see the many-to-many first interpretation of this EL diagram. Employee work for many projects, and each project has many employees. So this is many-to-many. So first, employee become a table, project become a table, and all the attributes in employee become an attribute in employee table. All the attributes in the project become a project table. Then next one is, in case of many-to-many, this diamond symbol become another table. This relationship, we have to create work for table and put foreign key there. Foreign key is other table's primary key. So there are two other tables, employee table, project table. So we have to add these two primary key, EID as a foreign key, project ID as a foreign key. And work for has starting date is added as an attribute. So remember this form. In case of many-to-many, it's three table, and in the middle, this diamond symbol become there. And also pay attention, each of these foreign key, EID, dotted underline, is foreign key. So when you see this dotted underline is just cover one field. Project ID is, and the last rule is combine these two foreign key, and make a primary key of this work for table. So can you see this long continuous line which cover two fields? this is the primary key, which is composite by combining these two. So when you check, always check this covering this dotted underline cover each field, each foreign key, and long continuous underline, and also arrow. That's the basic rule of the review. So now trying to solve the question by yourself, trying to figure out maybe we can do it together. First of all, there are many entities, right? So let's focus on these two, customer and order, customer and order. And can you tell me what's the cardinality of this one? Is it one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many? One-to-many, right? So let's focus on one-to-many rule. So first add the customer. So customer table and another entity order become added to the order table. And correspond all the attribute is written there. Then next rule is add the foreign key to many sides, right? In case of one-to-many. So which one is many? Customer and order. Order is many. So put foreign key to many the order side. Foreign key is other table's primary key. So what should be added? Other tables is customer. Customer table's primary key is customer ID. So this one should be added as an order's foreign key. In other words, so here, let me see. Here, in the order, should have a foreign key, so it's customer ID. ID. Because it's foreign key, so we need use dotted underline. Show this is foreign key. And make an arrow to the corresponding primary key. That's the first part. Any questions so far? Okay, now let's do second part. Second part. So let's see. Second part is product and order. Product and order. What's the cardinality? Is it one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many? Many-to-many, then you have to have three tables. Product, order detail, order. But you already have order table, so we just reutilize the same thing and add order detail and product table. And in case of many-to-many, where do we put foreign key? In case of many-to-many, where do we put foreign key? See the rule. In case of many-to-many, create a new table for relationship. Relationship is diamond symbol. And put two foreign key into the relationship table. So relationship table is order detail. So here you can, so we are focusing on this three table. Put foreign key. Foreign key is other table's primary key. So there are two other tables. So you have to put here order ID. and product ID. And this one is foreign key, right? So we have to put, let me make it red color. So dotted underline for each field. Order ID and product ID is also foreign key, so dotted underline. And make an arrow to corresponding primary key. And one more thing, this order detail needs primary key, so we combine these two foreign key as a primary key. So to show that, we make another long continuous underline. Now, let's do another things. Last one is now supplier and product. When you see it, it's one too many. So let's add product and supplier table according to the rule. So, but product table is already there, so we utilize same one and add supplier. And in case of one too many, we add foreign key to many side. So many is product side is many. So we have to add other tables primary key as a foreign key here. So that means supplier ID is as a inserted as a foreign key. So don't forget, right, drawing the line because it's foreign key dotted on the line. And make an arrow which is indicates corresponding primary key. Any question for this part? Okay, so if you download this Word file in the D12, in the second page, actually it shows answer. So you do it by yourself and then compare your results. Yes. Can you repeat? So order, in case of order detail, long line, because the order detail needs primary key. So we combine these two fields, order ID and two foreign key, combining this one. And so long line means this is primary key, and cover two field means it's composite primary key, combining order and product ID. And when you see the rule, put two foreign key into the relationship table, then combine two foreign key as a primary. So if you, I saw when I see your assignment, many people missed this long continuous line. So that's typical way error, or some people miss this dotted underline. That's the common mistake. Now, if you turn the page 2, there is a practice question, number 1. So solve the practice question number 1. Practice question number 1. So draw ER diagram and convert it to table design.
You're an expert.
Extra pencil. Give it back to me.
Yeah.
So question number 1. Complete and compare your result with your neighbor's results. Google question 1. You can discuss with your neighbor students. And convert it to table design. If there is a, you can use this space. We will not solve the question 2. So. And convert it to the table design. And here is the roof.
I have a question for you. If it's like 1 to 94, 1 to 1, and then has something, do you still put?
There is nothing which here. Only we have to. Did you underline for primary key? No, this is patient ID is primary key, then you have to underline. Underline. You see the primary key is underlined. Compare your results with your neighbor student. And take a picture and upload it to the submission folder as an attendance. And also you can claim on top of point.
For next question, one. Okay.
You're still.
And also do the question 4. Question 4. Question 1. And if you finish question 1, take a photo and submit. And do the question 4 as well. Yeah. Yes, and also you have idea, but you have to keep the notation of this.
What?
Where is the primary key? And so when you're born, yeah. You can use this. Maybe yeah, underline. You the other one is good. About it too. Oh no. Because it says hospital, but it doesn't say daily data. So there are only 10. So you can use it. Okay. Physician, administration. So if you look this part, then next part is patient. Patient should avoid no. You get the 40 key. Many times, videos many times. Yeah. So patients.
So patient ID.
Right, pouring fish, in case of one too many, we should pour too many things.
Oh, so this one goes here.
Yeah, right, the position I.
Oh, okay.
Take a photo and it will, there is a. Something like that.
Yeah. So it's like adding on now. Just that maybe what we're doing.
Where is it? How many? Yes. And now, for one page, how many people is there?
I guess.
Now, we have to. And then you have to. It's one too many. Two volume here. In case of one too many, many. Which one? So we will put it here. And I will location.
They have to submit it October 29th.
Yeah, the one.
Actually,
Here, example, because this is many. We put, point key. This is many. No, it's not right, one too many. You should put point keys. Point keys, other people. It's such a matter. You missed it.
Yeah.
So put your children. Then you have to watch. It's that class.
Yeah.
And also put on the lines, what is called. Then go to the number 4.
That's,
So take a photo of number 1 and number 4, upload it to the submission folder, and you can play 2 choco points in all series. Yeah. Yes, yes.
Should I just put it in the
Oh, just use trees. Then some way, then we will just check it.
Okay.
So we are done. Looks good, but what you missed is being involved should have primary key. Being involved. Primary. So you have one more line which cover these two. Like this one. You have to primary key. There is no primary key here in your case. Primary key is continuous. So continuous on cover.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Go home.
You have like a nicer pen, like, you know, just. Like user errors.
Yeah, we prefer forward to primary. So your error is one way. One you use 5 words and all that. It seems like it should be one way. You need primary. Long something.
Is this one?
Yeah.
There's a, or we're just gonna be.
Yeah. It's the subject grind location. The subject grind is made and it's for unit sequence. You miss many too many. No, it is silence.
Yeah.
You don't get it? So each entity become a table, right? Each entry become a table. Number 3. Many big create a new table for the relation. This is the relationship. Silence is the relationship. Yeah. So you make a being involved in table in the space. And put point key there and combine this point key as a file. You can see. Okay, so let's take 10 minutes break and I will help you if you have questions. Or I can come home your friend. Let's see. This is many to many. Many to many. There is many. You need.
I don't think it was his idea to go all in, but it's like just scores.
Yeah, it's going to, each field is going to, then
Yeah.
combine each field, so one.
Some do it. Yeah, no, I told the grad right before coming to class.
Next it's one to many. One to many is needed for the manager.
Oh, help or do it.
So.
You can change your side.
I don't have a car, I changed my top.
So.
I'm changing my next weekend, my dad's over here when he punches the car.
Yeah.
It's. No, I just.
That is.
And then one.
Assignments, always, but then you go
Yeah, you did not submit, so submit it. Because we cannot deduct mark. Same photo. Yeah, so did you say the yes. You go to, you can submit.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Yes.
Did you see? Oh my God, where better one.
Yes, perfect ideas, perfect agent, and it's being involved and trying to learn, even though. So being involved to the.
Yes.
Working, so who are the coaches?
So now you know.
What's up, next to one for this one?
What they're called? Yeah, both.
Are they both in different submissions or both in the same?
In the same submission. So, if you submit 1 and 4, you can claim 2 choco points. What you missed? Did you go to the line? And did you make a long continuous line? I don't see it. I don't see it, since you have to draw it. No, that's arrow key. Find the word. This line. On the right. On the right. Yeah, but there is a note. Suspect ID, prime ID should have 1 continuous in the line as well. You need dotted underline. That's dotted underline.
And
And
What do you call your bill fund? Oh, God.
you're right now, here,
Yes.
you're right.
And we don't. Yeah. No.
One to many, right? So make this side is many, so. Right, should have as point.
Yeah.
Of this is location ID. Location ID is up to the
But honey.
yes, if it is only one to many, just the point in any. Great, great.
Some challenge that
Two big papers. Case studies. Small issue. Case summaries. They have three cases and then two on page. Sometimes could be like, yeah, that's only we did ask. They're looking at over.
We could follow it. It's just, formatting here.
Formatting So.
You there? Are you there?
Yeah, so first case, or it's not case study participation. That's the plan of the project. And so there's yeah. It's a. Time consuming, you know, in the paper. I volunteers. And the handshake on the road and the seats.
Big George.
Yeah. But as long as you just go back. As long as you pay that.
Would you call you go switch you on?
Yeah, so that's why I think book boards are easier because there's so much credible information on this for you. So for example, we would do it. Resolve a case, you know, that, so.
So beginning of next class, we will have a D12 piece, midterm 2, which is just for database topic. So previous lecture. And There are a few written questions about database design. Database design. So what are 4 steps of database development? And why do we need conceptual model? Why don't you skip? So I think previous class I told you, you need to say 3 things, kind of thing. And the other question is based on this cow quiz. So we will give you cow quiz now. So if you participate cow quiz, this is individual because then 1 choco point and top 20 will get extra 1 choco point.
Yeah, we'd be posting that information on D2.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, similar question will appear in the midterm. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 4. We are 24. Still, I'm waiting for 3 more students. Anybody need more time? Please raise your hand. Okay. Raise your hand if you need more time. Only 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We are 24. Okay, we are 24. So let's start.
Oh.
these are just, yeah, just sites like website.
Haley, congratulations. Chelsea, congratulations. Madison, congratulations. Yeah. Okay, let me see. Top 10 is Luke, Jared, Meloy, Rihanna, Heather, Seth, Juice, and show me. Okay, so Jane, Aaron, Matt, Joe, Nathan, KH, Abdulrahman, C, Dylan, Eric, A. Yeah, these top 20 students got extra 1 choco point. Okay. So this one, and we played another card in previous class. So I will post these 2 cards, so repeatedly practice. And also review the slide of the database design to answer the written question. That's about midterm 2. Any question about midterm 2? But the I think it's 50 minutes. So if you practice, you can finish within 15 minutes. But you never solved this problem before, you will feel short of time. Okay, so any question? No? Oh, yes. Open response, that's written question. A few written question will appear from database design part. Yeah. Next topic is now you learn the Tableau, Excel for visualization or data preparation, and database and underlying technology. Now we will do business analytics or managing data or analyzing data. So we will use a tool called NIME. The name is KNIME, NIME. So I believe you installed NIME in your computer. Is it true? If you install NIME in your computer, show me your hand. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4, 5. Okay, so you got 1 choco point. And install it now to your computer. Hmm? No. No, yeah, it was long time. Go to the nime.com. You can download it. While you are download and install it on your laptop, let me introduce about NIME. So NIME slide is in the go to the content, and there is in the left sidebar there is another part is a NIME lecture slide. So click NIME lecture slide. Then there are installation video about Mac computer, and then NIME reference video. And there is a 1-1 data preparation using NIME. So I'll download and explain about NIME. So as a manager, my assumption is in the future you will be a manager in a company or own your business. Then you need to analyze data, or right? And this name is very good tool, which cover. You can use this one to prepare the data. This data preparation step is most time consuming in this data analysis part. It's over 50% of your time will be devoted, about 50 to 80%. And NIME will help this step. And also with NIME, you can build a model or visualize data. You can make a graph. Although it's not as beautiful as Tableau, still you can do it. And also you can run machine learning technique, those algorithm using NIME. Good news is NIME, you don't need to write you don't need to learn programming language like Python. Without learning programming language, without knowing any programming language, you can perform this data analysis and run the machine learning technique and evaluate. And another good thing for NIME is NIME provides full functionality. It's not demo version. It's actual software and it's free, open source, free. So you can keep using it after graduation when you go workplace or you start your own business. If you join to like JD Irving, then they have more expensive software like Alteryx. They use Alteryx quite often. I think he mentioned. But this instead of Alteryx, you can use this NIME. And also, the interface is very similar to Alteryx, so you can easily transit to Alteryx. And also, one strength of the NIME is NIME can run in the Mac and Windows. Alteryx run only on the Windows. That's the reason why I cannot teach you Alteryx, because so many students use Mac. So using NIME, you can do this part, all of this part. So this is good. And let's go to the NIME website, KANIM. So they call KNIME, but the first K is not pronounced. So you just call NIME. Can you tell NIME? Can you speak NIME? And NIME, what's good thing? If you go to the resource, can you go to the resource tab? Resource tab and go to the NIME books and cheat sheet. NIME book and cheat sheet. Can you go NIME book and cheat sheet? NIME books and cheat sheet. And they provide all the free books for NIME. So if you're interested in health, or if you is a life license or automation, you can read it. And also there is a beginner. If you're a beginner and you want to study NIME, choose this book and read it from Alteryx to NIME. Sorry, this is not the one. If you are Alteryx user, then you can easily convert to NIME by reading book. And if you go down, there is a textbook. So beginner's luck, advanced word to wisdom. So if you read all three, you become a very, very knowledgeable person. So for free. So you don't have to pay money. And also a little bit of, if you want to go deeper about analytics, You can study scometrics, data science, explainable AI. These kind of books are there. And go to the course and certification under the resource. Course and certification. You can take online courses there. And you click for and courses and certification. So if you wanna be a data analyst, then there is a series of course, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there are free online courses there, 3 courses. If you are interested in data science, or a little more deeper level to analyzing data, then you can choose this data science course or free self-paced YouTube video. So I recommend you take L1 AP for everybody. Yeah, so to get used to the name. And also we have bonus. That's so you have free book and free lecture. And also if you go to the community, can you go to the community? Community, and there is a community hub. Can you go to the community hub? Then you can find about 30,000 workflow, which you can copy and modify and use it. For example, you want to implement CRM, customer relationship management. One of the application is churn analysis. Churn analysis means predict whether this customer will leave me or switch to another company. So if you predict those customer group, then you can treat them very well. So they let them stay with you. Then let's go churn analysis, type churn analysis. Then you can see this kind of workflow, which you can copy and modify, use it. So there are over 30,000 use case. So if you work in a company later, your company trying to implement CRM, then you can use this kind of thing. So accounting, finance, inventory management, health, there are so many different applications. So everybody finished the installation of KNIME? Then can you turn on the KNIME? KNIME icon is like this yellow triangle. Let's start KNIME. It takes some time. It's desktop version, but it downloads some module from so. So did you install KNIME? Can you start? About 1 minute. Maybe because everybody start KNIME, so server cannot handle that's good. Usually take 1 minute. Can you turn on? Did you turn on? It's still installing. Okay, so I think US is similar to this screen. So left side there is a local space. Right? Local space is your folder. When you install, I think you designate your default folder which you save your workflow. So click this local space to get into your folder workspace. And then there is the right side there is a create folder icon. Create folder icon. Can you click create folder icon so we can create our own host folder and give name BA3672 for 2024. Make a folder for this course. I think 9 is here. So, no, you need to download your own computer. 9 is put down. Okay, 9 is not there. It's not there. Yeah, you need laptop, not tablet. So you can do it at home. Yeah. And you don't have 9. Can you check your school computer if there is a 9 in the school computer? No, that's it. Okay. I asked them to install it, but I don't think they installed it. Okay, then speaking of this software, can you let's go to the detail again. In the school computer, can you go to the school computer and log into the detail, please? So let's check whether and go to the assessment and go to the quiz using in the school computer. Let me check whether they installed the lockdown browser. Let me make it visible. There is a practice quiz using school computer. Can you go into the practice quiz and launch the lockdown browser? Because next, I will have anything. Yeah, for the local space photo, but now put the picture and trying to make the practice question. Yeah, and scroll down and launch lockdown then. Open lockdown browser. And trying to answer and start quiz. Yeah, write any answer and find something and if you any answer and just submit and check if you do not see the lockdown browser in your school computer. Let me know. Yes. ABC, yeah. You don't have to write any, just type 1 or A, 2, then submit. And let me know if you do not have lockdown browser in your computer. You do not have to install. You have to. No, you don't need download. You launch Lockdown. You do not need to download. Go back to the digital keys. No, close it. Close. And launch. Okay, open. Okay. So everybody were you able to launch the lockdown? You don't have to write many things, just submit. Yeah, then you got 1 choco point. You can claim 1 choco point. So I think every computer looks like have a lockdown browser. So you can download the 9. You can finish. Submit. Now you don't have to answer all the questions. It's just practice. So you just submit now. Submit it. Done. Exit lockdown. Okay, so at least lockdown browser is there. Good to know. So let's go back to Naim. Naim, and you create. Did you install Naim? Okay, so let's go to the folder BA3672 for 2024. Can you see this yellow button? Yellow button is create workflow. So click create workflow and write concatenate and your name, your last name. And click create. Then you will see left side node, right side we call node editor or canvas. So now what we are going to do is page 4. 4 out of 6. Page 4 out of 6. Page 4 out of 6. You can see the page. Yes, page 4. Everybody see page 4? So that's what we are going to do today. So what we are going to do is read the Excel file, and there is a 2 sheets, 2020 and 2021. So we do several works and merge these 2 sheets. That's what we are going to do. So first of all, let's download the Excel file. So go to the D12 and go to the content and 9 lecture slide. 9 lecture slide, and there is a data set proper form of data version 2. This is the one, so please download this one. Download and open it. And let's go to the we are in 2020 sheet. We are 2020 sheet. So scenario is we received this report using Excel file from other department and trying to revise this data so that we can use it in the Tableau to visualize this data. So to use it in the Tableau, you need to make a proper form, make this data for proper form. So what do I mean by proper form? There are 4 conditions. Proper form of data is you should make a column heading as a one row, single row. For example, this table has a two row of heading. So you have to delete one of them and make a single heading. Right. This time, this 2 is the column heading, and I will remove this first part so that we can have only one heading. And the other is every cell should have a non-blank data. So if there is a blank, then you have to fill, for example, in this case, Australia, and then Australia accessory, Australia bike, but it's not showing Australia. So you fill the Australia. And also here, accessory sale. Australia did not sell accessory in 2011, 2012. So it shows just blank. But you need to add 0. So the data is always there. That's the second part. And no subtotal or total. So if you see in the grand total, then you have to delete this part. So we just make it as a raw data. And last one is data should be appended or horizontally, no data. So that means data should be added row-wise, not column-wise. In this example data, this is yearly data, 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, right? If we have new data, 2017, then current format is you have to add a new column. Right? Adding new column is incorrect. You have to change this data format so that we can add as a new row to add data. That's the proper form of data set. So we will do this one using 9. So first thing you need to do is retrieve this, drag and drop this data set. So let's go, let's make this one by half. So in case of window user, window left arrow key, then you can split screen into the half, right? And let's go to the download folder. In my case, it is download folder and proper form of data. Find your proper form of data, drag and drop to the canvas. So if you're okay up to this step, Show me green button. If you need help, raise your hand. So we drag and drop those 5. So where is your exercise? Yeah, is the photo. Which photo is it? Download photo? Yes. Yeah, I think drag and drop. Yes. Yeah, did you? You don't have what?
We don't have a link or something.
Download it. Have you heard the download line? Okay. You guys okay? I have a problem. You guys okay? Yeah. So now let me see. Joe? Is Joe here? Are you okay? Okay. So now this is called node. So Excel reader node. So there is a right. If you right click, then you can configure. So click, or you can do F6. So click configure. Then you will see several tabs of input screen. First part is already set because we drag and drop. And second part is select sheet. We want to select sheet, so change it to by name and choose 2020. Okay, so let me do that. By name 2020, and now change it to data area tab. Data area tab. Yes, 2020. So we wanna work with the 2020 sheet. Data area tab. You need to check range by row and column. And let's see our file in 2020. Let me ask a question. Which column this data start? Start from A, right? Column A. So remember column A. And data start from which row? 2. But the first we need to make it one. Just choose one row, right? So let's start at row number 3. And so the row number 3 become a title. So remember A, start A and row number 3. So let's go back here. Range column A, and the row should start from 3. And second part is column name is in the row number 3. So 1, 2, 3. Then you will see your column heading is set correctly. Market, sales rep, target, actual. Row ID is inserted by 9, so you just ignore this part. Now let's go to the transformation tab. Then, so they read this column and check whether the type is, this type is correctly sensed, recognized. Market is string text, sales rep is text, target is number, actual revenue, profit, or number. So it's good. Just uncheck any unknown new column because we only need this field. So usually when you read Excel file, you need to do 1, 2, 3. You only need advanced option later. And if you later you want to use variable, you can use flow. So you don't forget about flow. If you want to automate like UiPath before, automate your business process, use this one. So you do not worry about this part. And you handle big data, use this option. So all these 3 options, flow, job, memory, you can ignore in this class and for the time being. Now, click OK. Click OK, then now you can execute this node. So right click and execute or F7. Then you will see after execution, the color become green. There is a red color, which means you need configuration, and yellow color is you finish the configuration, so ready to execute. After execute, you will see this green button. And if you move mouse over, this icon, leftmost one is configure, second one is the execution. So you can do this way or right click. So you read it. So one good thing is if you see this, click this output arrow, you can see in the bottom. If you cannot see this bottom part, then there is a small arrow and you can increase the size. Then you can see the interim output. So interim output, and if you click this table icon, then you can see full data. Click this table icon, then you can see the full data. So there is about 16 records. There is a market, sales rep, target, actual, profit. So let's talk, make it as a proper form for analysis. First, we need to delete this grand total. And also we fill this blank spot. Can you tell me what should we add here? US, right? So you copy from previous and downward. And this part is Canada, so you, based on previous value, you fill out this one. Of course, in the Microsoft Excel, you can easily do, but why do we use 9? In using 9, you can save this procedure and repeatedly use it again and again. So that's the reason why we make this one. So now let's close this part. And let's do first trying to remove this total part. So first of all, using this output port, click and drag and release. then you will see this kind of candidate. You cannot see all the things. So first of all, you go back to this in the left side pane. There is a filter icon, right? Filter icon. Click this filter icon. Filter icon and choose all node. All node. And apply and close. Did you? So filter and all node, apply and close. Now let's do one more time. Select. This time, what we need to select is row splitter. So type ROW. ROW splitter. Then you will see row splitter. So click. Then you will see row splitter. Are you okay up to this step? Okay, so now let's configure. So click configuration button. And add criteria. And this time market, choose filter column market, contain matches wildcard. Matches wildcard. And value is asterisk and total. So we want to remove this just if anything include in the total. So let me show you. So in the configuration, we have to change the market field and match with wildcard and value. What we write is, if you cannot see, asterisk total. Asterisk is wildcard. Anything, then finish with total. And click OK. And execute. Execute. And you will see this red color. Then included row, maybe I want to exclude it, but include it. Just include this first arrow. First arrow is showing here, number one, included row. Second arrow output is excluded. Okay. So if you choose included row, you can see there is only grand total because it included. And if you show excluded, then all other row is coming. So I think I made mistakes. So let's reverse it. So go to the configuration and match wildcard. So here non-matched row at the first output and match row as a second output. So choose this option one more time. Then it will give you first arrow become our data. Second row is the excluded one. Okay. Click OK. And let's execute again. Now, if you click this number 1, included row shows all 15 row. So click table, then you will see all this one. Total row was excluded. If you're okay of this step, show me red button. If you need help, yes.
We'll have to think of two.
So I think you choose row filter, not row splitter. Right? You're not ladies.
Yeah, maybe campus can still be
Okay, Chelsea, are you okay? And Haley is okay. Heather, good, okay. So now upper part is our things, right? So now let's handle missing value. So drag upper part and drop choose missing and MISS, then missing value node will appear. We are following this page 4. Missing value and also configure this time default and go to the column setting. Column setting. And we want to fill the market, right? So click and add. Or you can do double click. And in the market, do nothing. Instead of do nothing, use previous value. So let me show you. First of all, choose missing value. node. And then go to the column setting and click market and add. Then change do nothing to previous value and click OK. Click OK. Click OK and execute. Then you will see table. Now this empty blank part is all filled up based on previous value. Now let's save this one. So go to the screen and there is a save as. Let's go to the make a save as, and inside of your folder and concatenated Kim. I think it's the same name, overwrite. And then save it so that we can use it in the next class. Okay. And so can you, after save it, right click of that file and export it. And here uncheck this reset workflow before export. So if you leave checking mark as it is, then you remove all the data, so I cannot see it. So uncheck this part and then finish and find the destination. Where do you go? So let me change it. Maybe I will move it to the download folder. Concatenate Kim, and it's KNWF file type is KN9 workflow, KNWF, and save it and finish. And if you go to the 9 workflow download folder in my case, there will be a concatenate Kim workflow. So submit this one to the assignment folder. No, this is not the one. Just a second, let me finish. So this is the folder. Folder name is submission, I think. Okay, October 29, 9 workflow. So submit there as your attendance. Thank you very much, and I will take your question and you can go home. Thank you.